welcome to LEK's Lessons for Writers. In this episode, we're going to work in Photoshop CC and show you how to create a pin for your Pinterest account. The first thing you need to do is make sure that you have Photoshop CC on your computer. If you don't already have it, you can download a free trial at adobe.com. You're going to go to Creative Cloud and find Photoshop, and then you should be able to download a free trial if you haven't already. Once you have Photoshop installed on your computer, then you can open it. So in order to do that, you will go down to your search bar on your left-hand side of your screen at the bottom and type in Photoshop. Then you will open it from here. I already have it open, so I'll scroll away from that. Now you need to create a new canvas. In order to do that, go to File, New, we're going to call this one Pinterest Pin, and we're going to have it a width of 238 pixels by a height of 374 pixels. We'll make sure it's a portrait orientation. We want 300 pixels per inch resolution, and we want RGB color. Once we do that, we can just hit create. Now we like this to be big enough that we can see it better, so we'll go to View and choose Fit on Screen. Now from here we will choose our background color. Now we won't mess with the original background, although you can if you want. You can unlock it by clicking there, or you can unlock it by clicking on this little lock thing up here. But what we'll do is just create a new layer, which you can do. There's a folder here, and then there's a new layer, and then there's a delete button. You want to choose the one that says new layer. Okay, so now from here you see we have the paint bucket tool over here on the left hand side in our toolbar. So if I right click on the paint bucket tool, I can choose the gradient tool. This is what I'm going to use for mine. You can pull this down, and I can get this to go from the red to the white because that's the colors I have selected in there. You can also go the opposite direction, pull it up instead, and it will go from white to red. Or you could, instead of using the gradient tool, you could use the paint bucket tool and just make your layer all one color, just like that. Okay, but we're going to use the gradient layer. So I'm going to delete this extra layer here, go back to my gradient tool, right click, gradient tool, and then I'm going to pull down so I have the red to white. The next thing I want to do is put my text on. So I'm going to want to click on this text box over here. It's the T on your toolbar on your left hand side, and then drag it to where you want the text box to appear. Then you can type in your text. Mine is going to be how to create a pin. Now I want that to fit well. Okay, so now I want to do some blending options here, so I'm going to accept that by clicking on the checkbox. Then I'll go right click on the text layer, choose blending options. I'm going to choose bevel and emboss, and you can see how that looks. Then I'm also going to right click, go back into blending options, and I'm going to come down to drop shadow. Now here you can mess with the drop shadow. You can choose this down arrow, pick a color for it. Now this is the color it is now. So if I kind of just go down and to the right, I should pick a nice color that will go with it. for the drop shadow. Then I can choose how I want it to look over here. That's 100% opacity, and then I can drag it all the way down. So maybe I just want, say, 30% opacity. And maybe this spread's too big. I want to make it much smaller. Size a little smaller. Then I can choose OK. And you can see I have my drop shadow and I have my bevel and emboss, and it looks pretty good to me. So now I'm going to add a picture to go with this. So I'm going to go to Pixabay, and I have done a search for pins. So we can look here and see what might work well. This one here is pretty neat, so let's choose free download. I'm going to stick with what it has here, 1280 by 993, and it's a PNG file. So I'm going to pick download. I'm going to save it in my stock folder. Give that a moment to download. Once it has, go back to Photoshop, and then I will go to File, Place Embedded, and I'm going to find that pin in here. And then I'm going to arrange it on the page where I want it. The last thing I need to do is basically sign my image. The way I do that is I just put my website on here. So I click on the text box and I create a box down here on the bottom. Make sure the font is really small so that it'll show up. www.lek.com. And I think I may actually choose that red color for this. So let me go pick the red color. You can use the eyedropper to select the color you want. Then go back to your text layer. Choose OK. And there we go. It is now that red color. Now at the moment I have both are using the same font. I think I'm going to change the font on my website name. Let's find one that works. That one seems okay. From here we'll just save it, File, Save As. I'm going to save it with the layers so I can make changes later if I want to. So in order to do that, I will find the folder I want to save it into, leave it as a TIF, name it, create a pin. .tif. Choose OK there. Now I am also going to save this as a ping. In order to do that, I'll just go to File, Export, Quick Export as Ping. It already has a name, create a pin, .png. I'll just hit Save. And now I have that pin. So I can close that, head back into Pinterest, and upload that pin. Last night when I went to upload the pin that we created in Photoshop, I had some problems with Pinterest. They're having some technical difficulties, but today it looks like we will be able to upload that pin. So how about we get started doing that? Now you'll see there's a plus sign here next to my profile image. You'll see there's messages, and then here is upload image. So if you click on this little plus sign or hover over it and then choose upload image, you can select from your device. So I will click on upload image, and then browse to where we saved that last night. I believe it was in my Pinterest folder. Okay, here we are, and it was this one called Create a Pin PNG. So let's open that. And for the destination to the YouTube video for this, so I'm going to need to hold off on that until I have it uploaded to YouTube. So we'll hit continue. Now we want to choose a board. And I'm going to put it in this YouTube how-to videos. I may save it to some other places as well, but that's where I'm going to start. By the way, this new board YouTube how-to videos is open for collaborators. You can send me a message if you're interested in joining it. There it is. I had to refresh the page. Okay, so now you want to go in and edit the information for the pin. So if you click on this little thing that looks like a pencil, you have to hover over the top to get that to come up. Otherwise it just looks like that. But when you go on there and hover over the pin, this will show up, and it's the one in the middle is the one you want. It's showing all three of these because this is a business account now. So if I click on the edit button, then I can add information in for this pin. I can tell them what the pin is about and link it to the website. I'm going to do that a little later. Okay, that's how you create a pin in Photoshop CC and upload it to Pinterest. Hope to see you in another lesson of LEK's Lessons for Writers. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.